Hey everybody. Sorry for taking so long to get another video up. Also, please forgive the odd camera angle. The camera on my computer doesn't seem to be working, so I'm gonna be shooting this video on my tablet today. Anyway, I've been getting several requests to give my opinion on the new DuckTales series, which, I guess I shouldn't be that surprised about, considering that I'm a die-hard DuckTales fan. Anyway, this is going to be a pretty brief video, and yes, it is going to contain some spoilers. So, be warned, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it already. Okay. I have to say that I do really like the new DuckTales series, a lot more than I was expecting to. I am gonna have to see some more episodes of it before I say whether I think it's as good or better than the original, but yeah, it's definitely a genuinely good series. And this is coming from a die-hard fan of the original. In a nutshell, the plot of the pilot, the pilot movie episode, whatever you want to call it, is that Donald has to go to a job interview, and the boys somehow trick the babysitter that he's hired, so that she has gone to the wrong address, and they're hoping to go off on an adventure while their uncle is gone. And Donald catches them and needs to find another babysitter, so he, as a last resort, takes them to their Uncle Scrooge, who he hasn't been on speaking terms with for several years. Scrooge, out of obligation, agrees to babysit them. And they end up becoming friends with Webby through that, and snooping around the mansion, and finding a lot of the treasures and stuff that Scrooge has found, and waking up several monsters, and of course, Scrooge has to fight them off. And Scrooge has been in sort of a slump for these several years because he hasn't gone on a lot of on any adventures. And after fighting these monsters that the boys and Webby have woken up, he remembers why he loves adventure so much, and ends up taking the kids to find the Jewel of Atlantis, and the whole second part of the episode is their adventure, finding the lost city of Atlantis and the Jewel of Atlantis. And that's basically the plot in a nutshell. Yes, there are a lot more details than that, but now I'm going to talk about the characters. And yes, I think that they did a very good job on the characters. for the most part. For one thing, the boys have their own individual personalities and voice actors, and have a lot more depth to them than they did in the original, rather than just being the standard two-dimensional prankster, adventurous kids. The only one that I would say that I kind of dislike is Dewey. Because he's he's supposed to be the adventurous one, but his flaw is that he barrels into things without thinking, putting himself and others in danger. That's not to say he's a bad character, but he's definitely not my kind of character. Huey is definitely my favorite of the boys. He's the, responsible, oldest of the triplets. Who's supposed to be the smartest and the junior woodchuck. Who always follows the rules and that sort of thing. So he's definitely my favorite. Louis is definitely, I definitely like. He's cute and funny, and is definitely the youngest, and is, and is supposed to love treasure like his Uncle Scrooge, but is kind of lazy and doesn't want to put out any work, to do it, to get it. And I'm sure that you guys are all dying to hear my opinion of the new Webby, since, well, I absolutely love the original version of her. I'm one of her few fans, and she is, after all, my second favorite fictional character. And yes, I think that they did a good job on this new version of her. The original one, I think, had a whole lot more depth than she was given credit for. Since she was girly and was shown to be more competent than the boys in many situations, and being adventurous and longing to be part of the McDuck family. This version, I think that they've done a good job of showing what a teenage, preteen, version of Webby would be. She's still shown as being a lot more competent than the boys because of the training that she's had. And she's still shown as being shy and awkward and wanting to be, and wanting to be part of the Duck McDuck family. And, I know that a lot of people are comparing her to Mabel from Gravity Falls. I don't really see that. She's definitely not the, scatterbrained ditz that Mabel is. And I know that a lot of people saw that, scene in the previews where her original Quacky Patch doll has the arrow going through it. It's sort of a slap in the face to the original. I don't really see that either. You can tell that, that the writers really respected the original and wanted to expand on her character. If you look at her room, you can tell that she's tied up a lot of her stuffed animals, and I think that what that was supposed to be was showing that she had moved past stuffed animals and were using them as target practice for her fighting skills and that sort of thing. And as far as the other characters go, I also really like this incarnation of Scrooge. Um, he's portrayed pretty much the same way as he was in the original DuckTales. Um, he, in my opinion, still has just the right balance of good traits and flaws. Just the right balance of grumpy old man and loving uncle, unlike, say, the Don Rosa version, which I don't like, which is nothing but an anti-hero that treats his family like garbage. Um, and I also really like Launchpad. That they've done a good job of capturing the spirit of the original in this, and I also like what they've done with Donald here by still keeping him by still keeping his comedic slapstick humor and his and keeping him angry and losing his temper and that sort of thing, but adding more layers to him and showing that he's willing to risk his life for his nephews and that sort of thing. And another thing that I have to add, and this is major spoilers here if you haven't seen it, I'm really glad that they're going to explore Huey, Dewey, and Louie's parents in this, and I'm really glad that they've given Scrooge a backstory that's different than The Life and Times of Scrooge McDuck by Don Rosa. I I understand that has a lot of fans. Yes, the Life and Times of Scrooge McDuck is arguably the backstory of Scrooge that had the most effort put into it. Since Rosa did do a lot of research on various comics, various Barks comics, to write it, but it's still not nearly as good as as the fans make it out to be, and it definitely shouldn't be treated as Scrooge's only backstory and the Bible of Scrooge backstories like it is. So I'm really glad that they've finally come out with another backstory to show that that there is that there are more Scrooge backstories than that one. And that there's one with actual effort put in it that that does actually clash with that depressing backstory that Rosa wrote. Anyway, that's about all that I have to say about the DuckTales reboot right now. As a diehard fan of the original, I think that it's really well done, and I think that you should give it a chance. Even if you are a fan of the original, and even if there are some things about it that you don't care for, you should still give it a chance, because it's a genuinely good show with some effort put into it, and you can tell that it's done by fans of the original, that are trying to appeal not just to kids of today, but to fans of the original. It's not like the Teen Titans Go or Powerpuff Girls 2016. That's just that is just made to sell toys or something. Anyway, that's about all I have to say about it for right now. Um, I can probably give you a better opinion on it when I see more of it. And hopefully I'll have time to give some more videos on it. When more episodes of it come out. Bye.